Skit-Scat Raggedy Cat, Ella Fitzgerald. Written by Roxanne Orgel. Illustrated by Sean Qualls. Ella cranked the handle on the phonograph, and the three Boswell sisters crooned with honey in their voices. When I take my sugar to tea, all the girls are jealous of me. Her mother, Tempy, sang along in her sweet high voice, and Ella danced. Over and over they played the record. Ella's little sister Frances put the needle back at the beginning each time. They forgot the washing and ironing, forgot even supper until Tempy's boyfriend Joe came home hungry. 'Cause I never take her where the gang goes when I take my sugar to tea. The song danced in Ella's feet all the way to Benjamin Franklin School on Waverly Street. She leaned against the red brick wall and sang, "I'm a rowdy dowdy, that's me. She's a hi-hat baby, that's she." Ella's big hoop earrings jumped as she put out one foot and then the other, and did a little dippy-do. Her schoolmates flocked to her like hungry pigeons, bobbing their heads to her sure beat. So I never take her where the gang goes when I take my sugar to tea. Ella sent the song and the dance to her mother, who was pressing white shirts at the Silver Lining Laundry and counting the minutes till lunchtime. Tempy never had enough money, but she could always manage to scrape together 75 cents for a new record. Ella was 13. Her mouth was too big and her eyes were squinty. Ella was not pretty, but she could dance. She practiced outside the apartment on School Street with her friend Charlie. When they did the Suzy Q around the corner on busy Morgan Street, people reached into their pockets for change. And folks did not have much change to spare in 1930 in Yonkers, New York. Toss a nickel on the sidewalk for Ella and Charlie. Not just Ella. Everybody was crazy for dancing. The jazz bands were stomping out tunes that made people want to jump. And music was everywhere, stealing out of windows and doorways, from phonographs and radios. At night, you could switch on the radio and shuffle to East St. Louis Toodaloo, coming from the Cotton Club in Harlem. Harlem was 45 minutes and a world away. New dances sprout out there faster than weeds in the sidewalk cracks. The bigger boys in Ella's neighborhood went, came back, and taught the latest steps to Ella. But it wasn't enough. She had to go see for herself. Ella and Charlie put their nickels together and took the number 1 trolley to the end of the line, 5 cents. They climbed aboard the Rumble Rumble subway train, 5 cents more, to 125th Street, New York City. They pushed through the turnstiles, clambered down the stairs, and there it was, Harlem, at their feet, dancing feet, tap tap slide to the Savoy Ballroom on Lenox Avenue. The Savoy. Some people called it the home of happy feet. The polished dance floor was a block long, and the music never stopped because there were 2 bands. As soon as one band took a break, the other kicked in, and so the dancing continued on and on all afternoon and into the night. 30 cents got you in the door in the daytime. Ella watched and danced, listened and danced, and by the time the sun went down, she had the Lindy hop and the Shorty George in her feet. Now, when Ella and Charlie hopped the Lindy and Yonkers, people said goodbye to all their loose change. Clink, plink, roll. The kids were making more money than the shoe shine boys. 3 cents a shine. Ella and Charlie even got a few dancing jobs in clubs around the neighborhood. Ella was going to be famous. She told everyone so. Never mind her broken down shoes. Ella was raggedy and poor, but she was tough. All she needed was someone to notice her and give her a chance. Instead, she got a terrible blow. Tempy died suddenly when Ella was 14. Ella was left with Joe, who didn't treat her kindly. So her Aunt Virginia came to fetch Ella and bring her to live on 145th Street in Harlem. Just like that, wham shabam, Ella lost everyone and everything she loved. First her mother, and then her home, her school, Charlie, and her friends, and her dancing jobs. Ella might have been happy in Harlem. She had her cousin Georgina for company and her sister Frances, who came later. Ella might have been happy if her Aunt Virginia had been able to give her some comfort and affection. But Virginia Williams offered meals and a roof, and nothing more. Ella needed more. Ella was a rough, tough, raggedy cat on the outside, but inside she was milky and silky and soft and shy. The raggedy cat got rougher. Ella started skipping school. When she wasn't keeping house for Aunt Virginia, she did things she shouldn't have. She ran errands for gambling men and did favors for people who were in trouble with the law. Ella was hurting, and there was no one to notice. Ella broke the law herself, once, twice, and then Skit-Scat. Ella got sent up the Hudson River to a school for orphans. It was an awful place, a nightmare place. They beat the girls, and the colored got it worse than the white. It was a regular routine to leave a girl alone in the basement, in chains, with nothing but bread and water to eat. The school was no place for a rowdy-dowdy, high-hat baby with a broken heart. How could Ella dance in a nightmare? How could she sing with no one to sing the song to? Ella was tough. Somehow she endured the place for nearly 2 years. And then, skit, scat, skedaddle. Ella ran away. She went back to Harlem. Not to her aunt's, where the police would find her and send her back up the river, but to 7th Avenue. 7th Avenue, where ladies in furs and men in checkered suits went to strut their stuff, especially on Sundays after church. Where the hoofers and tumblers, acrobats and comedy teams, jazz singers, jitterbugs, and the fabulous Edwards sisters, the best kid dancers around, practiced their acts and collected the coins that people threw at their feet. Ella danced the Big Apple and sang a little. If her voice can bring every hope of the spring, that's Judy, that's Judy. She had hooked the school kids in Yonkers with her singing. Why not the fancy crowd in Harlem? Ella tried to sound like Miss Connie Boswell. She tried to glide from note to note like a skater on ice, and put a little skip in the rhythm here and there. If her eyes say yes, and you're wrong in your guess, that's Judy. Where did Ella live? Anywhere and nowhere. People took her in, gave her a meal and a bed. Or didn't. In 1934, half of Harlem was out of work. Men, women, and children were scrounging in garbage cans for food. At the Baptist church, you could get a bowl of soup for free. They gave out used clothing, too. Ella got a pair of men's boots to keep the cold off her dancing feet. She was a half-starved raggedy cat of 17 with no home. But she was free. Free to slip on down to the new Apollo Theater on 125th Street as soon as she heard the news. The Apollo had an amateur night on Wednesdays. You didn't have to be famous. Dancers, singers, anybody could enter. The people in the audience were the judges. And watch out. Either they loved you or they hated you. And they let you know it. First prize was $10 and the chance to perform for a week with the band. To get on the program, Ella had to pass the Monday audition, show her stuff to the MC. She arrived in a hand-me-down dress and her men's boots from the Baptist church. Who should be ahead of her but the Edwards sisters, in sequin dresses and real dancing pumps. The Edwards girls had pizzazz and razzmatazz. Ella couldn't dance after them. Her feet felt like bricks in those clumpy boots. She wanted to scram. Her turn came and she didn't dance. She sang instead. Ella sang Judy and the object of my affection, and the MC liked her enough to give her a spot. Showtime, 11 p.m., the Apollo Theater, November 21st, 1934. Behind the crimson curtain, Ella was so nervous. Her legs felt like water. She couldn't remember the words to her song, and she was the first amateur. What if they didn't like her? Somehow she managed to push herself onto the stage, and then she started to sing off key. The object of my affection? Her voice cracked. The audience began to rumble. They had paid their 35 cents, and they wanted a show. Boo! Get that cat out of there! someone shouted from the second balcony. In a moment, a siren would shriek, and a man they called Puerto Rico would come tearing out, dressed like a skeleton, or a hula girl, or some other crazy thing. He would shoot his cat pistol and run Ella off the stage, while the audience howled. Instead, the MC stepped to the microphone and said, "Folks, hold on now. This young lady's got a gift she'd like to share with us tonight. She's just having a little trouble getting it out of its wrapper. Let's give her a second chance." This time, Ella did not sing off key, and her voice did not crack. The object of my affection can change my complexion from white to rosy red anytime he holds my hand and tells me that he's mine. Her voice was light and springy. Her beat was perfectly in time with the band. Soon, even the noisemakers in the second balcony were holding on to every word. The feeling of being listened to, oh, it was a salve to Ella's sore heart. When she finished, the audience hooted and hollered. The girl sounded just like Connie Boswell. Ella won first prize. She got her $10, but she didn't get her week with the band. You had to wear pretty clothes to sing in the regular shows. You had to be clean and presentable. Ella was a mess. Somebody give that girl a bar of soap, a comb, a dress. But who? Ella had no home. She slept on a stranger's couch or a friend's dusty floor. She was a rough young thing with no thought for herself except this new desire. Hang up those dancing boots and sing, you raggedy cat. Ella gave it one more try. The Harlem Opera House had an amateur night too. Again, Ella was nervous, but this time she did not get lost in her song. She won first prize, and she got her week with the band too. They put her on so late in the evening that people in the audience were putting on their coats and starting to leave. But then the band leader announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, here's the young girl that has been winning all the contests," and Ella began to sing. If her voice can bring every hope of the spring. By the time she got to the end of the first line, people were taking off their coats and sitting down again. Soon their feet were tapping and their shoulders were bobbing. Ella too was swinging with the beat, singing with her whole body. If you're smart, watch your heart. She'll upset most any fellow's apple cart. When the song ended, people jumped out of their seats, screaming and whistling. The noise, all for her. They liked her. Oh, they liked her. Folks were beginning to talk about Miss Ella Fitzgerald in Harlem. One day, Ella was dancing and singing for tips on 125th Street. Toss a coin in the can for Ella, when a stranger approached and said that Charles Linton from Chick Webb's band was looking for her. He needed a girl to sing the swing tunes, the fast numbers that sent people onto the dance floor. Everybody knew Chick Webb. He had a drum roll like a burst of gunfire, and it made the dancers hop as if the floor were red hot. Well, all right, yes. Ella would give it a try. She walked over to the opera house where the Webb band was playing to see what was what. Mr. Linton was tall and slim and handsome. He wore a turban and he was very popular with the ladies. When Ella sang Judy for him, her voice was small and shy. "That's all right," said Mr. Linton. "Come on up and I'll introduce you to Chick." Chick Webb was a short man with a hump on his back. He took one look at Ella and said, "You're not putting that on my bandstand. No, no, no. Out!" At the other end of the room, Ella wanted to flee. How could she sing for someone who didn't want to listen? Sing for Tempe instead. She had been gone for 3 years now. Ella sent the song to her mother up in heaven. If she seems a saint, and you find that she ain't, that's Judy, sure as you're born. Chick Webb listened. He had wanted a pretty girl who could put across a song and make the band look good. But this raggedy cat had something else. She had a beat, a dancing beat he could feel in his drumming fingers. She might be just right for this hard swinging band. Okay, he'd give her a tryout at the Savoy. The Savoy, where Ella and Charlie had dropped 30 cents to learn the Lindy. Chick's songs were all new to Ella, but she wrote the words on little cards, and by showtime, ding-a-ding-a-ding, She knew them by heart. Somebody found her address, but oh, was she still a sight. "Hey sis, where'd you get those clothes?" the men in the band teased her. "Sis, what's with that hairdo?" Sandy, the trombone player, took her aside and gave her a bar of soap, told her to wash herself good. Helen, who looked after the costumes, took a comb to Ella's tangles every night. But the dancers couldn't get enough of her. Ella was not pretty, but so what? The girl could swing. She had a dancing beat in her feet ever since she was a bitty girl in Yonkers, and all she ever needed was a chance to send that beat traveling up through her body, in her throat, and out her mouth in a song. From his place behind the drums, Chick could see what was happening. Ella made people want to get up and move. He made her an official vocalist with the band. Ella had been singing and traveling with the Chick Webb band for 3 years, and they were the number 8 swing band in the Downbeat magazine contest. But they still didn't have a hit song on the radio. Ella had an idea for a song. It started with an old nursery rhyme. A tisket, a tasket, now what color was that basket? She had to think back to when she played Drop the Handkerchief with Charlie and her friends on School Street. A brown and yellow basket. I sent a letter to my love. No, she'd make it mommy, for dear Kimpy gone to heaven. I sent a letter to my mommy. On the way I dropped it. Ella wrote down the words as she remembered them, and then she added a few of her own. She was trucking on down the avenue with not a single thing to do. She was pecking all around when she spied it on the ground. She took her words to Al, Chick's musical arranger, and he fooled around the piano until he found the right notes for the band to play. Every time Ella sang about her little basket, the dancers in the audience rushed to the stage to touch her outstretched hands or just the hem of her dress. They waved so many white handkerchiefs it looked like wash day at the Savoy. Ella made a record of A Tisket A Tasket with the band, and before you could say a little girlie picked it up and put it in her pocket, Ella and Chick had a number 1 hit song on the radio. Ella was 21. She had a closet full of sparkly gowns with shoes to match and a wristwatch. She had a room at the Woodside Hotel on 7th Avenue and a home with the Chick Webb Band, which was now Tops in Harlem. When Ella sang, people danced the night away. Sometimes they stopped and stood crowded shoulder to shoulder in front of the bandstand just to listen. So long, Skit-Scat Raggedy Cat. It's Rowdy Dowdy Hi-Hat Baby now. Thank you so much for reading with us at Power, Academic Strength, and Conditioning. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, and share. Until next time, bye.